So I've just got back to the house, having worked on the boat all day, and I then discovered that the cows were escaping down the lane from the farm next door. So I had to rush out and shepherd them back before I could have a beer. So spring has definitely sprung in Somerset, and the first thing I did when I went to the boat shed was climb up the field at the back and have a look at the two ancient oak trees I talked about last time. Already the leaves on this big old tree have come out, look, since I was last up here. As you can see, it's all rotten in the middle, hollowed out. There's another one just lower down that's in better nick, but this is the more romantic of the two. So what I've mainly been doing since the last video is little details like spars and fiddling with things on the boat. So I'm going to put some fiberglass tape on the ends of the oars. I keep having to do this because it gets rubbed off. When you've not got an engine, you tend to use oars for all sorts of things, and one of the things that happens is that you use them for prodding things. See, I've got the central section of the mast clear finished, but the ends are painted, and that means that I've somewhere to rest the mast. I can actually paint it in two sections. Just thought I'd show you my anchors. I have two of them. They're both 10 pounds, 5 kilograms roughly. This is the fisherman's anchor. These have a folding stock. This bit's called the stock. And I used to use a metal clip so that I could fold and unfold that, but now I've got some wire in there so it stays up. I find that easier to so I can just chuck it overboard and it's all ready. This I bought years ago in Falmouth. I was looking for an anchor for a little 12-foot dinghy I had, and a little chandlery there said, "Don't buy any of these modern anchors, you buy one of these, this'll see you right, mate." And I was a bit sceptical, but I bought it, and here it still is. This is a sou'wester plough anchor. These aren't made anymore. Sou'wester no longer exists. They were celebrated chandlers and they went bust, I'm afraid, so you can no longer get these. These are a copy of an anchor called a CQR. They're rather a cheap copy. I found this quite good. People have things against these sorts of anchor. The bad thing about it is this hinge. It folds and can trap your fingers. But it's obviously, you know, the development of, it was one of the first sort of modern clever anchors, patent anchors they were called. And there were all sorts of more sophisticated anchors produced nowadays, and people have all this debate about what anchor to buy. I find no difference in performance between these two anchors, and I actually prefer the other one. I prefer the Fisherman's, because this is just nice and easy to use, and I find it digs in really quickly on quite a short scope. These are great, and they're really cheap. You can pick these up for virtually nothing. And I think the main point of an anchor is it has to be heavy. £10 anchors is perhaps a bit light for my boat. The old Dinghy Cruising Association rule of thumb was that a fisherman's anchor should be the same weight in pounds as the boat length in feet. So I should have a £15 anchor, which probably would work very well, but I already had this. So I have on it 5 meters of chain, and the chain is as heavy as the anchor. So, and the main thing that you want to do is get weight on the seabed, in my opinion. I've never had these anchors drag, and I'm out in some bad weather sometimes, and I can of course use them both if I'm feeling really sort of stressed. See the shackle here to shackle the chain to the anchor. It's gone rusty, so I'm going to have to order another one. Just actually replace the chain on this anchor with a new length, and as you can see I've had to put a little stainless steel shackle on, which is not ideal, so I'm just ordering. Tractor going past. This is what happens when you live in the country. Farmers think they own the countryside, and yeah, that needs changing with a different shackle, so I'm just ordering some different ones. So what I'm going to do now, as I have replaced this chain, this 5 meters of chain, is I am going to splice it to the warp, because after the 5 meters of chain I then have 35 meters of anchor warp, so I need to attach this to the rope. First of all, I'm going to tie a bit of marline round the end of the rope. Just to stop it unravelling. Three strands of the rope, pass 2 of them through one direction, the other one through in the other direction. There you go, and then you just simply splice it. So once you've got 3 tucks in, you can take off the bit of marline, he says. There you go. Check that, coming out of different holes. Obviously this is the old splice that I've unpicked. This is why the rope's looking a bit straggly. Trick is to put the fid in the opposite direction to the way the rope's going to go. Then then when you pull it out, it pulls the rope through. Right, and then I take each one to taper the splice. Take those two, one more, and then the final one. One more again. Okay. Cut the ends off. There we go. So that's it there. So if we keep going up the warp, see it's marked every 10 metres with a simply with a cable tie. Three. 4. So I actually have the ability to put out 45 metres to here, but by the time it's gone over the bow it's really 40 metres. Plenty of yachts only have 30 metres of road, but this is because I sail on the Bristol Channel, and even 40 metres is a bit light sometimes, but I can add extra rope to it by a double sheet bend onto this loop. So that's so I've two of them, two identical roads, two anchors of identical weight, so either one can be a bower or a kedge. I don't have a light anchor and a heavy anchor, and I don't see the point of, some people have a really light anchor just for anchoring for lunch, I think that's pointless. When you put an anchor down, you want to know you're going to stay put, because you never know what's going to happen. So yeah, I have two 10-pound anchors, and that I've always found sufficient with the 5 meters of chain on each one. There are various ways of doing this, but this is the way I'm using. It's a frosty morning this morning. I hope you appreciate this is filmed over a certain number of days, which is why there might be a bit of continuity breaks in the clothes I'm wearing. This wasn't all happening in one day. It's early in the morning now and everything's covered in frost. So as you can see, I finished the sail and the yard lacing, and that's all done. The mast is, well, it's got the first coats of paint on. I'll probably put some more on. And over here I've done quite a lot of work on the oars. So that's what the largely what the work's been about just recently. Just wanted to show you this loop that I made last time is for the traveller on the mast that hooks onto there. That's what that was about, and the leather is to protect the mast against it. There's obviously attached to this, there's a halyard, which is all in a bit of a tangle here. The hat, I haven't talked about the hat. This is a Dinghy Cruising Association hat. You can see it's the colours of the Burgee, and trust me, it's cold enough this morning that you need to be wearing a hat. What I've done in this video is just filmed myself doing work. It's not intended to be an explanation of how to do things, but I thought it might be useful to you to see someone actually splicing ropes for real purposes. The book I use to splice and other rope work, knots and things, is an Admiralty Manual of Seamanship, the British Admiralty. This is from, don't know when it is, just after the Second World War, I think, and it's got all sorts of very nice explanations of how to splice ropes and how to do knots and everything, and all sorts of stuff that is probably a bit obsolete now. But if you want a really good explanation of how to do rope work, I'd recommend something like this rather than watching this video. But I hope the video was interesting and not too boring. So here are the tools. A couple of reels of marlin. This is natural fibre for the leather. Sailmaker's palm, fid, multi-tool, sail needles, Admiralty Manual of Seamanship. I notice it's actually 1937, there you are. Here is the Burgee on which my hat is based. Lots of work has been going on in the boat as well, but I think that's enough for you to be going on with, and we'll talk about what's been going on in here next time. Even though we're all in lockdown, I do actually need to do some architecture, so it's not all just boat maintenance.